Hi guys. Today on Grow Up, we've got some amazing people. We've got Pierre and Sarah. We actually met them through social media, and I admire what they've done. They worked their butts off to create a small business, and they actually live in a state with a Republican governor, Doug Ducey. And so I wanted to do this. We wanted to do this because we've gone hard after Democrats who have done all these crazy lockdowns and mandates and everything. But I wanted to also call out our own side that has done things that have hurt small businesses because it's not government's place to do this. So I wanted to get just your guys' perspective as small business owners. First, before we do that, though, I wanted you guys kind of introduce yourself. Tell us about your business.
Oh, hey, everybody. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for having us. My name is Sarah Racy Bacterville, and my husband, Pierre.
Hello, guys. How you doing? Thank you for having us.
And we own a gym in North Scottsdale called Athletus, and it's a small personal training one-on-one studio gym. And we've been devastated by everything that's been going on with the lockdowns. And I think I've cried myself to sleep a few times.
Yeah, we've had to close a couple times. And I personally, I'm about working for my money, I'm not going to, and no diss to anybody that wants to get a government check or whatever. But even after all this, I went to go work for Amazon and driving those vans in 116-degree weather, which, mind you, I have to say this, what's his name?
Doug Ducey?
No, the guy who owns Amazon.
Bezos.
Yo, Bezos, he needs to pay those people because that is not, you're getting $16 an hour.
You are jumping
That's
topics.
crazy.
Hold on. Sorry.
No, I'm with you. I'll allow it because I have major bones to pick with Amazon.
We go after Amazon.
Yeah, we go after Amazon on a pretty regular basis. But, in terms of the business, I think what struck me is that you guys are a young couple like us. You guys have kid. You guys have worked so hard to make your small business. And how quickly did government rip that from under you? Like, what was the effect on the orders? Can you explain what the order was that affected you and what it did to your business and for how long?
Well, I'll kind of backtrack a little bit, like where it all started. So I started Athletus as an apparel line in New York, where I lived. I was a model and actress for almost 20 years there, and I was able to start my own apparel line. Everything was made in the USA. I met my amazing husband, who was a celebrity personal trainer for some of the biggest names out there in New York. And after we had our son Cyrus, we sat down and had the means to buy our first home and basically merge our brands together and start and get my first brick and mortar store and his gym. And Arizona seemed like the best place. We're like, it's a red state. It's going to be great. It's cheaper. The clientele in terms of fitness is here. So we made the decision. My parents live in Tucson. So we bought our first home and found our space, and we got zero money. I mean, we didn't take out any loans. It was all our savings, literally our hard-earned money that we put into building this gym, buying equipment, the deposits, the rent, everything that it takes to start a business. We're new to Arizona, so we knew that we had to really work hard to gain that trust, to meet people, to go out, show how great of a trainer he is, show everybody how great my apparel is. And then within 5.5 months?
5 months, yeah.
We got the order that we had to shut down. And I understand in the beginning phases of COVID, I was afraid. I didn't know what to believe at that point. You thought if you touched something from a grocery bag, you're going to die. So it terrified me in the beginning. But the more research he did, and the more we really invested in doing our own research and understanding things, then seeing the devastation it brought to our business, I can't even give you the emotion I felt when we got shut down for 3 or 4 months. We're allowed to reopen by Doug Ducey's orders. Within a week and a half, we were told that we had to shut down again, or we would be arrested. Our business license would be taken away. They had people snitching on people, cops. I mean, we literally were terrified that cops are going to come knocking. I mean, I didn't know what country we lived in.
Yeah.
I could go on.
I think what you're saying is what so many small business owners are experiencing right now. So yesterday, actually, I went and I did a panel with one of our state representatives and a local mayor here, and we did a panel where we talked to local business owners. and hearing from all of these business owners where they were like, we feel like we're meeting in a prohibition room in, you know, the 1920s, and that we're having to hide to express these views that we just want to live and have our businesses open. You know, and seeing the pain that everything is, you know, these owners have experienced when they live in blue cities, especially because like the ones that are coming from Davidson County here in Tennessee, that's where Nashville is. Those ones have been hit the hardest. And the fear they have and everything, you know, they talked a lot about the mental health aspect of this and how hard it's been on their families and on their customers too, for some of the people who do things like having a gym. What can you tell us about the mental health component of all of this and how lockdowns have another cost that are not being talked about, that's not being discussed?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing that people don't realize is too, is like what we're talking about here. And if you look at the statistics, as far as like country by country, you have like all the way down from like to Japan to Taiwan. Like Taiwan has like 7 deaths, right? And if you look at the graph and you see America, United States, then we have, I don't know if it's like, as of today, it was like 299,000 deaths or something like that. You also want to think about this. Like there was a study that came out that talked about the obesity rate is going to be at 50% obesity rate in like 10 years, probably less than 10 years. Because when I read that, it was like a year or two ago. So you look at the most unhealthy country, which I think could easily be declared as the most unhealthy country on this earth. And then you look at the death rate, it completely correlates to that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't like, and when I look at people and I'm like going into the store, which I'm allowed to go into Walmart, I can go into Target, and that's perfectly okay. Right, which in itself is like it's crazy.
So insane.
So, you know, I'm looking at what has transpired. Has he gone forward? Because I don't think he actually mentioned like taking your vitamins until like, I think it was a couple months ago. He admitted that, you know, things like taking vitamins actually, you know, might help your immune system, right?
But mental health wise, okay, at least in our industry, the best endorphins and the best stuff that you can do for yourself is physical exercise.
That's your hormonal balance.
That is literally one of the biggest components of having a healthy immune system. I mean, we have a woman here that trains with us who said, "You saved my life." She got out of a very seriously abusive relationship with her ex-husband. She isolated herself. She's in her like maybe early 50s, single with a daughter. And she said, she comes up to me, she's like, "You Sam, without you guys, I don't know what I would do." And you hear stories like that, and just the act of having somebody care about you, about your fitness, because my husband's hard, you know, but he cares about you. That in itself speaks volumes. And when you lock people up or you tell people that you're not essential, that you don't deserve to survive based on government, for me mentally, I almost had a nervous breakdown. I mean, I could cry right now because my cousin, God bless her, we were on our way to Seattle to visit my 89-year-old. We found out on the road up to Seattle that we got shut down for a second time. And I did the psychotic laugh. Like, you know, you get past the like crying. It's like, should I check my wife into therapy? Because she sounds crazy right now. Because I'm like, this is not happening. We spent money to reopen. We did all this stuff, advertising, and then to be shut down again. So my cousin started a GoFundMe just without us knowing, because he's a prideful person. I don't like taking money from people. We like to work for our money. But she's like, "Look, I had to do it for you guys. You put all this, everything you had into this. And you have a son."
We would have been shut down.
We would have been done. We would have been done. Yeah. In our little inner circle, I know of 3 people who have killed themselves. You know what I mean? But I don't know anyone that's died of COVID. And that's just my personal, and I don't have like a ton of friends, obviously, but I know, you know, there's people that are telling me that they know so many countless people that are suffering mental illness like crazy. You know what I mean? I think that's essential, you know, and dictating what business is essential in my book is the most like tyrannical thing that I've ever heard of.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, because you guys are both healthy people advocating for the real health of people, which we know, even according to science, is exercise, diet, nutrition, getting into nature and breathing fresh air.
Absolutely.
I mean, you guys know better than anyone. You know, who gets to control what is healthy and what is not? I mean, essentially what we're saying is government gets to decide that, putting a wet, moist cloth diaper filled with bacteria in your face is healthier than breathing nature. That staying sedentary and isolated in your home is safer and healthier than going to the gym and sweating out those toxins and eating healthy, all of those things. And we're not mandating Twinkies away. I mean, what do you guys think about what these politicians are saying, and these little tyrannical, government leaders are trying to do your job and help people and inform them what you guys know, very firsthand knowledge about what people need for their health?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a story. So just about 3 days ago, there's a park by our house. So we're on the borderline of Phoenix and another town, but we go to this park and take our son Cyrus there. We were there a week ago. Everything was fine. The park benches were open. He's allowed to play around on the playground, the kids' playground, the volleyball net, the beach, the basketball court. We were playing basketball. 4 days later, less than a week later, I go there. I took video of it because I was like, Pierre goes, they took the volleyball net down. I was like, what? It's 74 degrees in Arizona. It's beautiful, blue skies. I went down to the basketball courts. They took down not just the net, but the entire rim of the court.
Wow.
I was.
It's this arbitrary, like these arbitrary rules. But like the tennis court is clearly open because
you're 6
that makes
feet
sense.
away.
Right, you're by yourself and the other person's all across. But it's like, dude, like
you're telling me that us going to play basketball outside with vitamin D and 74-degree weather and the fresh air and playing volleyball is somehow worse for you than staying at home in your house?
Breathing your own.
But you can go to Walmart though and be packed like sardines in an aisle, and that's fine.
That was in my video. I said we literally just came to Walmart. We were getting stuff for Christmas, and we just left there to go to the park. And I was laughing. I laugh a lot. I was laughing because I said, babe, we were just in a place that had 100+ people. I'd say about 60% of them morbidly obese.
Right.
I'm not judging, but that's okay. That's some were deciding to wear masks, some were trying to being like rebellious and not wearing a mask. And yet we go to an open park and it's the mayor here that's the a little.
She shut down basically all the parks and stuff.
Oh, again. So
Yeah.
no, we couldn't play basketball again, and
because they rather you be inside your home, not getting any vitamin D, not getting fresh air. They want you at home playing the Xbox. They want you eating ice cream,
ordering your Netflix subscriptions, Amazon, ordering on Amazon, making these people rich while they, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole.
They go every single, all these leaders, all these mayors, and like, I think there's like 14 instances I was looking up of different mayors and governors who have basically done exactly what they say that you shouldn't do. Like Austin mayor, it was San Francisco mayor, Gavin Newsom, Lori Lightfoot, Schumer was outside without a mask. It's
Right.
But it's okay to go protest. They destroyed the mall over here in Scottsdale.
We're angry.
And the sheriff back.
You should be angry.
We're all angry.
Everyone should be angry. I want to say this. You touched on three very important points. One is mayors, okay? Mayors, I don't think a lot of people realize this. Your mayor, your local mayor, probably has more of an effect on your day-to-day life than the president of the United States does.
Oh, absolutely.
And most people do not show up to vote for their mayor. They don't even know who their mayor is. Mm-hmm. And even if they do know who their mayor is, they probably don't have a clue what their policy positions are. Okay, so, and here's the other thing a lot of people don't realize about mayors. The highest incidence of politicians running in a party they don't actually belong to in order to get elected is mayors. Mayors do it on a local level all the time and say, oh, I'll run as a Republican, and they're not actually a Republican, or they'll run, vice versa.
Yeah.
And this is something critically important to people, is that you stay involved in local politics. You vote in mayor elections. You know what they stand for. You ask these questions before they get elected, and you hold them to what they say they're going to do. The other thing you guys talked about is the wealth transfer. We are watching the largest wealth transfer from small business to big business of all time, and it's entirely, I would say 90% being run by Democrats' policies. And then you have a few odd people like Doug Ducey who chose to do this with shutdowns. And look, I don't doubt that he's probably a nice guy and that he's probably, great, dad or any of those things. But the question is, are you doing a great job as governor? And when you're shutting down small businesses to a degree that people who've worked their whole lives to build something have it ripped away in a few months because you decide unilaterally that they just can't operate because they're not essential, you're not doing your job as a governor. And I think the governors need to have enough foresight and enough, introspection to look at their own behavior and the choices they've made and say, you know what, I made a mistake, and make it right. Find some way to make it right and stop, and definitely don't do it again. The third thing that you touched on is eating. People who want to force people to wear masks or force them to get a vaccine, these same people, I would ask them, are we going to start forcing people to eat healthy? Because somebody going out and eating unhealthy their whole life at a higher risk for heart attack poses a risk to me and my family that they're going to have one while they're driving, crash into us, and kill us. Okay.
Also
but guess
taking
what?
up hospital beds as well.
And take up hospital beds.
People with severe comorbidities.
I don't want to mandate them to not be allowed to eat Twinkies. Right. I don't want to mandate them to stop drinking Coke or mandate them to stop eating cheeseburgers every day from McDonald's. That's not my job. Mm-hmm. But if you think that you have the right to mandate for other people to wear masks or get vaccines or whatever it is, then follow that logic all the way, because you're going to have to apply it to these other areas if you're going to be consistent, So I think those were great points from you guys.
And what really pisses me off when you guys were talking about the basketball hoops, I've seen that too here where they put tape on it or take the net off, and then people go home and watch the NBA games. These China paid for players like LeBron. How do people not get so fiercely angry? The hypocrisy.
I've come to the point now where I believe the word hypocrisy and double standard doesn't describe it anymore. I'm trying to say, I've tweeted out some things to some of our Republican, congressional people or senators. I said, stop. This is an act. I believe it's an act, not of war. That's a very strong word, but this is the line in the sand. And this is no longer, it's hypocrisy. You are now infringing on my life to a point where we could be homeless.
Right.
We could be, we'll never let it get to that point, but we didn't come here to have a governor or government say, you're essential, you're essential, you're essential, you're not essential, you're not essential. That should be, I always said this to people, that should be up to us to decide if we fail as a business. If we're horrible business people, he's a horrible trainer, I make crappy clothes, don't buy it. We're going to go under. That's what business 101. We're not given that choice. We're not even being given the chance to be horrible business people. You're telling us that we don't have a right to survive just based on that we have gym in our name. Should I change it as a restaurant? As a Target outlet? Should we start
and you
selling food here?
I know a guy who owns a gym in New York, and he had to retrofit his whole air duct system.
Millions of dollars.
It's a brand new installation. He has to, on top of all his debt already that he has, after he's been closed. And now I'm surprised they haven't closed the gyms again. I guess it's after 10 p.m. It's phenomenal. It really is.
Don't block them. It's funny. Sorry, there's comments coming in, and there's a troll in there asking inappropriate questions, but it was kind of funny.
I was gonna block him. But...
Well, let's ask you. You had 3 of my kids. Am I transgender?
No. This just goes to the territory.
I love the trolls, man.
Oh, I love them. I eat them for breakfast.
Oh my gosh, I know. I wrote a song called "Don't Feed the Trolls." It's hilarious. These people are. It's unbelievable how special they must think we are to come to our stream and just give us our time. Anyway, I was going to ask you guys. Going forward, what do you think needs to be done? What do you think people need to do? Besides, obviously, we can support you guys. Anybody who's in your area, now that we know who you are and what you guys need, we can support. But what do you think people need to be aware of? What can they do?
I think people. I'm sorry.
I think people need. Sorry. I think people need to, like you were saying, Robbie, people need to start getting involved. And now we're seeing, like, with all the election stuff too, it's like you're realizing the state legislators, like people, most of us don't know half of these people's names or what they exactly do all day. Like, we need to start going to the, our capitals and start finding out who these people are, who's in your district, and like we need to start changing things from the ground up, because what I see on the horizon, and honestly, I think anyone with a brain sees this happening with the COVID passports happening already with the airlines. timelines, they are going to they're going to mandate vaccines, right? And this vaccine is very unproven. I don't think you can maybe fact check this if you want, but I don't think they tested it on animals at all. It's like the first time in history. It's actually it's a DNA, it's an RNA vaccine. It actually like manipulates your DNA. Like you want, and it'll be the same people that say this, my body, my choice, all these things. And when we talk about abortion, and now they want to tell you that someone needs to be able to jab you in the arm with something that's unproven. This is like beyond. Like, and the question is, what are we gonna do about it?
I think the one thing people like us, like me, I want to get more involved. I considered running for office or doing something, getting involved in my local city council. Even if it's just starting from the base. I always go all in. I'm running for Congress, but at the same time, I need to get my feet wet, I believe sometimes.
We might need a new party. Let's go.
I want to get involved, but I think people really need to get out of their freaking bubbles. That's including everybody out east and all the people that I know, and stop demonizing people. Because everybody who came at me, even my friends, they all got jobs. They all had $500,000 in PPP loans. They all can do their jobs at home via Zoom, and they were getting paychecks.
We didn't get any money from the government.
We had nothing. We still have gotten nothing. So, I mean, we're barely being able to keep our doors open. We literally month to month for us. Like, okay, month to month. Are we going to be able, let's get people are still afraid to work out. Like, it's all these different factors, but wake up.
Right.
Yep.
Do your own research.
You're absolutely right. And I would say I want to encourage as many people as possible to run for local school boards, run for those city councils, run for mayor, run for any of these things. Take the shot and do it. I would say I would advise against people running third party because it just realistically means you don't have a chance. But because I've heard from some people, I'm so mad at someone, like, say you're mad at somebody like Doug Ducey. I'm not going to run the same party as him. The truth is, you need to run that party because we need to be the ones in control of it, not people that are not doing things the right way. And I truly believe it's not too late for people like Doug to learn the error of their ways and flip around and make better decisions now, and maybe even do something to make this right for businesses. But I think that that's an important point. We have to take control on a local level. That's huge because that's where you actually make change locally, is at that local level.
Well, and I think there's something to be said for activism too, because at this point, if we're angry enough, if it's disrupting enough lives and livelihoods and people's ability to put food on the table for their children, they need to collectively organize and go up to the mayor's office with a petition or just their body, their presence, taking up space. Look at what the left does very successfully. They get what they want. They throw tantrums. And I'm not suggesting throwing a tantrum, but we need to show up. We need to show up and hold our leaders accountable.
Yep. Here, you can have some of this. We'll break COVID rules.
I've been trying to go, I try to go to the Capitol, especially now they're doing Stop the Steal, I think, in every Capitol on Saturday.
We went to a few. And
so, that's a good place to start and just start trying to meet people that are in your areas, because you got to know who the players are, and
churches too. If you're a part of a church, encourage your pastor and those people to speak up, because I am disappointed in the number of churches who have stayed silent and not fought for the right to worship and have not fought for the people who go to church to be able to live their lives, And there's so many of these people in here that are commenting that are, this same sort of idea. Our voice is our weapon in this fight, and we have to speak up. If we don't, we're challenged by a group of people who are definitely not afraid to speak up. So we can't, anybody who's still out there on the line wondering, this is it. You have to speak up.
And that's one thing I've said for a long time now. I think I've even said since high school, I've always watched this. I grew up in the inner cities. I went from South Seattle to East Harlem almost my entire life. And I never stepped in line. I always observed things for myself and said, this doesn't make, it never added up to me. Where everybody was going, all my friends were very diverse. And I just said, this never added up. You're saying things that just don't, I don't see out in the forefront. And it's I think that one thing that we have to do is become louder. I'm not saying violence. We're not violent people. But like you said, they know how to organize, and they're very good at it. And they're very good at being loud. And for some reason, we have always shied away from that. And that's where I'm saying, at least all the people from the all the people from the hood, let's go. That's like,
Yeah.
we're at a very important crossroads.
let's
And
go.
that
Like,
whole
why
like
are we
being
so
silent
shy?
stuff, like, you know, in New York, I couldn't really talk about, you know, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
get blackballed.
I was blacklisted. I would have been blacklisted in my,
You know,
with my
and
agency.
you won't see it on my Instagram and reflected in that, but if you go on like my Twitter or like my Parler, I'm becoming more and more active, and I have to tell myself too, like, this is not the time for us to be quiet anymore. Like, you got to
Yeah.
get out there.
Well, here's another thing is people need to support people like you guys. So like that's actually what we did is when Landon you told me first like, hey, they were shut down. And I was like, no way. And my immediate response was I need to hook up with Pierre and do training with him one-on-one, because that's how we can help, you know, fill the gaps of what government is screwing up is by supporting each other. You know, so if any of you guys want to get in touch with Pierre and Sarah, how can they get in touch with you guys to do training and stuff like that?
So you can go to athletus.training, and it's athlete spelled athlete, IST dot
Yeah,
training.
it's grammatically incorrect. So ATHLEEIST.training. I'm at Sarah Racy Tabrizi on Instagram. You can DM.
And I'm
We
down,
still have
down
our
here.
GoFundMe on our Instagram page. Just to, I mean, we're not asking for that, but it is a struggle right now. I'm not gonna lie.
And if you're in Phoenix and just want, you know,
Yeah.
like to go to the downtown together, just like make our voices heard too, like on the political spectrum, like let's do that too, you know, like
Yeah.
whatever.
My husband's
Yeah.
very intimidating looking.
Yeah.
When his,
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know that you guys are amazing. And Pierre, like you've trained Robbie and
Yes.
he's gotten his butt kicked. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's,
You have kicked my butt.
but
That is-
it's awesome and it's out of love and you guys are so passionate about what you do. So, you know, just anything we can do to support our patriots fighting for individual liberty.
We'll do.
And this is something that people even, you know, on the left, they don't realize is that we're fighting for them too. They don't even realize it. We're fighting for their ability to put food on the table for their children. So this is about
I don't know
individual
that
freedom.
I don't know that they want to go to work though. Honestly, I don't know that the other side wants to go to work unless they're already rich.
Well,
you know, I feel like they're happy with this whole lockdown situation.
well, what they don't realize in collecting a check from the government, and you guys know, you know, is that it puts us in a subservient state now. Now they call all the shots for our entire lives, including our health, what we're exposed to, like information that we get. You know, this is all part of a bigger agenda. And
Absolutely.
you know, that when we collect that check, we have to give them something in return, which is freedom.
Our
and
rights.
eventually we'll be out of freedom because we'll be out of checks.
Yeah.
The first people that are going to get the mandatory vaccine are anyone that's basically living off the government, and which they have created even more of those people. So if you got to look at the big agenda here, people, like they're talking about the Great Reset for a reason. If you got to look into the Great Reset, do some research and find out what that exactly means, because it means you being a slave, essentially. So you got to do some research.
Absolutely. I mean, we're literally, it's a human rights issue too, because if you think about it, we don't even have the right to freely breathe anymore. I mean, that we don't have the right to provide for our own family. To, you know, if you look at it tribally, you can't hunt. You can't breathe without somebody telling you have to put something over your face. You know, it's like hijab. You are being forced by an outward entity to control your rights to breathe, to have food, to provide for yourself and your family.
Yeah, and I think we know historically, at least with like men who are still, I guess, biologically aware, that doesn't last very long where you can tell men you can't provide for your family before something really bad happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid is going to happen. And then unfortunately, you are now, you say you're poking the bear or poking the lion or whatever that phrase is. Like it's you know, we talk to people and they're already kind of gathering together and seeing who is prepared for whatever may happen. It's a little eerie. I'm a little like, what the hell is going on?
It's scary too. Like,
but
that's
you're trying to find who agree, like what, you know.
It's not hard to figure it out either, because it's usually the person with a freaking mask in their profile. It's the people that, you know, they wear a mask in their car. Those are not the people that are going to be there to help, you know, when things really, when it comes down to it. And the patriots are the ones that are going to save this country. And that's the fact.
That's right. That's right. And you knock on your neighbors, don't expect to come up to their door for food or, you know, survival skills. And, you know, ultimately, I think what people are the most afraid of isn't COVID. It's the fact that they're going to have to make a decision whether to be completely compliant and become a slave to the government, or fight fight for their freedoms and their
Yeah.
family. And that decision is so anxiety ridden,
Yeah.
you know, because we're all going to have to make that decision sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah, real
Absolutely.
soon, real soon. You got to go. You know, every day. I think to myself, when they start trying to mandate this vaccine, what am I going to do about it? And that's you need to answer that question, because if you're just going to roll over, that's one thing. But if you really don't want to take this vaccine and you really do the research and find out how dangerous it is going to be for all of us, then you need to like step up.
But I've seen that there's a lot of people on the left too that are not going to take the vaccine. Like I know plenty of people I'm friends with who are like, no.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not taking
wait
it.
till they tell those people. Like my sister's a nurse. When they tell her you're gonna have to do this, otherwise you're not gonna be able to work anymore.
That's
Right.
right. Or get your check. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is, I guarantee,
Or
I
get your kids
guarantee that's
health
going to
care.
happen.
Anything. I mean, you can't
Oh,
even go
yeah.
get your kids health care if you are, you know, for a pediatrician. If your kids are not fully vaccinated on the schedule, you can't even find a pediatrician.
Yep.
Well, and that's where you have to say, what's the end game here? And I know people say you're a conspiracy theorist going down the rabbit hole. I think we're at a point, a couple of people, Robbie, I've heard you say, we're at a point where we don't get along anymore. Our ideologies are so vastly different. It's scary. People I've known for 20 years or more, where I'm looking at you now saying, who are you? Like, when did you become so radical? And they probably feel the same way about me, but
They've been indoctrinated.
I can never coexist with them in terms of like, I don't agree with 99.9% of the things that you want. I don't want Marxism.
Yep.
I don't want my kids indoctrinated because of your social justice stuff. I don't want a vaccine mandated on us. I don't want to keep my business closed because you feel like it's safer for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? But
This is the Matrix, man. And, you know, like the Matrix, like spelled it out exactly the way it is. You know, and if you either take the red pill or the blue pill, and you can just be living your life in ignorance and take the vaccine if you want to, but in the reality, it is real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to wake up.
Well,
I mean-
I think there's two types of people now. I mean, really, because we can have all of our different beliefs, but ultimately the difference is half of us don't want to force anything on you. Do what you want. Don't hurt me. Don't keep me from providing for my family. Don't tell me what goes in my body, on my body. I can freely breathe and provide for my family. You do you. Do what you want to do. But stop forcing other people to comply with your ideological narcissism.
yes. Stop.
Yeah.
It goes even more to just a physical. It's magazines, it's editorials, it's your entire indoctrination. That one reason why I left the industry was I did not feel that, and I was still working and booking. And I was like, I'm not going to sit here and beg to be part of this magazine when you're teaching how to kids can have oral sex or anal sex. Like, it was just, why am I wanting to be a part of an industry that doesn't like me? If I came out, why do I want to be a part of an industry that hates my guts? Because I'm pro-life. Because I'm a Christian. My own acting manager mocked me for being a Christian. Oh, what do you believe in, Santa Claus and the Easter Rabbit? Like, it was just.
What did they call it now? The Jesus?
Oh, the Jesus Land thing.
The Jesus
yesterday.
Land,
I
that's
don't know if you saw that. They were saying that like we divided countries, we would be called Jesus Land. They're just bigots. They're bigoted against anybody who has any sort of belief in God. And really, what that fundamentally comes down to is they believe in nothing. And when
No, they're the religion. They're their own God. They are a religion in themselves. They believe they are their own cult, religion, whatever they call us, a cult. They're the religion of the Democrats, the progressives.
Yep. And I think, you know, we have to get to this point where we you know, at least for me, I can't comply at this point. I can't do it because I feel like complying in any way at this point is giving them exactly what they want. And so it's going to take people standing up and resisting and saying, no, I'm not complying. I don't care how. I don't care what Fauci says. I don't care what his new study says. I don't care. I'm a free person and I'm saying no. And I'm saying no. You know, and no means no. You would think that they would understand no means no, you know, but they have some difficulty with that. You know, I did want to say before we jump off, can you do a reenactment of what I look like after Pierre trains me? Because she makes fun of me. What?
Well, okay, I didn't know that he was training with you one day, Pierre, and I came downstairs to the kitchen. I was from our office, and I was making our lunch. And he was leaning over the counter like he was going into labor, except he was completely pale. And I said, oh my God, is everything okay? What happened to you? And he's like, I exercised.
No, I said with Pierre.
With
I
Pierre,
was,
yes.
I was,
That
I was like,
you
I
got
think
trained by Pierre.
I hate him and I want to die.
But he's like, I hate him, but I love him.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I'm thankful for for you guys, and
Yeah.
for COVID, it has introduced a whole new clientele that is it goes across distances now, and that's the one positive thing I could say. You know, I've been able to reach people in all different parts of the country and the world. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a positive thing.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
yeah.
thank you for joining us,
And I
guys.
want to say something to you too, Sarah. I think it's awesome, that you stood up for your values and you left that industry. I think you're a really wonderful role model for young women. I had the same experience. I had to ultimately decide for myself, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What am I doing here? And I think it's amazing because people like us, we don't have a voice. We had our voice and platform and livelihood and career taken by making that choice and standing up and having integrity. So when we talk about women supporting women, we need to support other women, conservative, freedom fighting women. So awesome. Kudos to you.
Thank you. And same to you. You're gorgeous.
Thank you so much. So are you. And you guys don't even know, she was on America's Top Model.
Yes.
And so you're all very humble over there. You're humbly cocky, Pierre.
Humbly
but
cocky.
Yeah. See that?
Is that what the shirt says? I don't have my glasses on, so I couldn't see that.
But yeah.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
you,
guys.
guys.
You guys
Appreciate
are
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
guys.
You guys stay safe. And where
Stay healthy, exercise.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
can you drop your links again real quick before we leave?
Sure.
People
Yeah.
want to find you?
And can you put them in the comment?
I don't think they can.
They can't.
Yeah,
Do we know how to make
but
it?
just
Okay.
go ahead and drop your links, spell them out for
I'm
people.
about to cancel my Twitter.
It's Athletus, ATLETEIST.training. So Athletus.training. And my store is athletus.com. So that's where you can buy the apparel. And I'm at Sarah Racy Tabrizi on Instagram. You're at Batville.
I'm using you can use my
He's
parlor.
a bad parlor now.
Down here, it's our time, and that's a Goonies reference for all you Goonies lovers.
Oh gosh.
Down here, it's our time.
Yeah,
Awesome.
parlor, yeah.
All right.
All right, you guys.
Love
take
you
care.
guys. Stay safe.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Appreciate it.
Bye.